I, 26F, opened my husband's 32M Snapchat, and it was a very explicit picture and caption from a girl. He's sitting not 20 feet from me and I don't know how to handle this. The title pretty much says it all. Throw away because my hubby is a Reddit user. He's most likely on it right now. Here we go. I've been married to my hubby for 1.5 years, and we've been together for 5 years. I've never questioned his loyalty. He's fantastic. I felt he was really brilliant, witty, beautiful, and loyal. He's never given me cause to be skeptical of him. I found it weird that he downloaded Snapchat. He's not a major social media user. I have one, but I don't use it very often. We seldom ever snap at each other. He said that his pals were quite engaged and that he preferred it over Facebook. As I previously said, I've never had cause to doubt him, so I didn't think anything of it. My spouse went in the bathroom this morning and left his phone on my nightstand. I was half asleep when his phone began to beep, waking me awake. For SMS messages, we both used the same phone and ringtone. In my half-asleep condition, not understanding that he had placed his phone on my nightstand for whatever reason, I mistook it for my phone. I didn't even see his black phone cover, mine is green, and I glanced at who had texted. Mom, it said. Okay, my mom texted me. I'll ignore it till I'm awake. But there was a Snapchat notice below. Someone called Roxy took this photo. I was thinking, who the heck is Roxy? And why is she snap talking with me? When I opened it, there was an image of a cat on it. And not the sort with 4 legs and a tail that meows. I want your tongue inside me again, the caption added. Now, I instantly assumed that was an error. But I was awake now, having been startled awake by a vulva. I suddenly realized that I was looking at my husband's phone. I began sweating and felt like I was going to puke on the bed. I checked his Snapchat contacts, and she has a yellow heart next to her name. I checked up what it means, and it means best pals. I'm afraid I'm going to become ill. I didn't do any further snooping since I already know what I'll discover. I simply don't comprehend how he managed to pull this off. We're content. I assumed we were content. We have 4 times a week at the very least. Reddit, here's the actual kicker. Our first kid is nearly 12 weeks pregnant, and I'm almost 12 weeks pregnant. He's about 20 feet away on the chair, and I'm at a loss for words to address him. How do I say what has to be said? Is it possible that I'm overreacting or misinterpret the situation? I'm devastated and unsure what to do. First and foremost, thank you for all of your love and support. I can feel it from where I am. Thank you so much. It amazes me that strangers care so much about my kid and myself. Returning the love to each and every one of you. So, spouse is aware that something is wrong. I'm not sure whether he noticed that I opened a Snapchat from Roxy and is terrified of what I saw and is hesitant to bring it up, or if he's completely oblivious and can simply see I'm unhappy about something. Every hour, he asks me whether I'm all right or if anything is wrong. I told him my sister was having a difficult day. Ironically, she had just broken up with her boyfriend. Why? He cheated. And I was going to her house for supper. I live in the Pacific time zone, and to spend the night with her. I've arrived. My 20-year-old sister is a social media genius. She stalked his Facebook to see if she could find this Roxy person. She went through his friends' pals list. We had discovered her. At least, I'm rather certain about it. I couldn't see her face on Snapchat, or was taking up too much space on the screen. She is Facebook friends with a close friend of my husband's. She works as a receptionist at a legal business owned by a friend of my husband's. My spouse works a few streets away from the legal business and often swings by for lunch with a buddy. That explains how they met. Still working on a confrontation strategy, attempting to gather as much information as possible beforehand. My sister and I both want to burn his life down, but I'm going to deal with it in the most mature manner possible so that I can walk away from him with my head held high and be a worthy role model to my baby daughter. I'm not sure if it's a girl, just a feeling. Is this good news? My uncle works as a lawyer. He deals with divorces the most of the time. I've already emailed him and asked if we might talk about some possible legal difficulties. I haven't specified what yet, but it seems like something I should do in person at our meeting. I told him it was crucial since we had a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. I'll try to keep you updated as much as possible. And thank you all again from the bottom of my heart, Internet strangers. Update. Hello everyone. So I never connected my email since this was a throwaway account. I can't add an update since the link to approve. It needs me to check in again. So I made another fictitious account in order to give an update. My new throwaway account's username is this girl in OR 121. Just so you know, the update is genuine and not the work of someone else. Yet another update disregard what I mentioned before. Story 2. My brother cheated maybe and I'm supporting SIL kids. Now what, confronting brother? I'm 35 years old, have my own daycare, a tiny boy, a spouse I like, and a marriage we're working on that is so far successful. My brother Andy was the only person I confided in IRL while my spouse had an emotional affair. I served in return from 2 tours in Iraq, not from the US by the way, and Andy did the same a few years later. We were both there at the same time, mine second and his first, but in separate functions/groups. I felt so weak and ashamed after my husband's EA, yet wanting to remain with a cheater and thinking, wow, I know I deserve more than this, am I settling by staying? Andy taught me that as long as I did what I wanted in with the rest, I could keep my pride. He was equally angry with my husband, but when they met, he was cordial. Yesterday/Friday, I received a phone call from Andy's wife, Bella. She's weeping and hardly coherent, and she's talking in hushed tones, as if she's doing her best to keep the drama from their children, 3 and 5. Why? Anyway, I owed him my at-home office and asked my husband if he can finish early and watch our son, since the other children from my daycare have already departed. I stated that something was wrong with Bella and that I needed to check in with them. My husband completed the tasks that needed to be done immediately away, and I was on my way to Bella in 20 minutes. Their location is around 30 minutes away from us. Bella was a shambles, and Andy was nowhere to be seen. It was early evening by this point, so I tucked Bella into bed with tea, showered the kids, and cobbled something together from their fridge for them to eat. Then we all sat on Bella's bed and watched hilarious animal movies on YouTube, which thankfully appeared to cheer Bella up quite a little. The laughter of the children had a positive impact. Then I tucked the kids in. They complained about not staying up late on a Friday, mostly the oldest. The youngest doesn't know what a Friday is law, but I told them I needed some alone girl time with their mom and said, we'll drink wine, eat those dry crackers with the stinky cheese, and talk. A lot. Oh, they'd rather sleep than do that, haha. After that, I created a platter with just that, crackers, cheese, and wine, as well as some chocolate from my husband's stockpile in the vehicle. As I sat on their bed next to Bella, she had discovered their iPad and thrown it over before pouring herself from the tray. Her Facebook was open on the iPad, with a conversation tab from a clearly fake/anonymous account. The guy claimed to be married to the lady Andy was having an affair with, and there were photos of hotel receipts, etc., that were badly shot. As I browsed through the conversation, they appeared one after the other. When Andy went away to meet with military buddies, Bella remarked it matched. Something he and I have always done a lot is speak about this and that, recollections and so on. As previously said, we were not in the same groups, thus his buddies are not my friends, so I don't know. Anyway, Bella informed me that she had opened a sealed packet containing all of Andy's social media, email, and bank account information, which he saves in case he is gravely harmed. I have one as well. It's something they recommend and a good idea even when civil. And she viewed the credit card transactions, and it wasn't where he stated he went with his buds. If any of this makes sense, my nice sensitive brother is now spending family/joint money for a weekend in a rural cottage with his mistress. According to the stranger, she is a married lady with a child of her own. Bella had obviously tracked her on Facebook, but she doesn't know her, and they, mistress and Andy, don't seem to have anything in common or shared acquaintances. A chance encounter once in a while? Is it a dating app? If this is true, no one knows how they met. Why the phony account? Throughout the night we spoke. As a consequence, she plans to consult with a lawyer as soon as possible. Contact them on Monday, just to be aware of her legal rights, etc. Divorces are generally simpler and less dramatic where we live. He will not be told since she has stolen her portion of their shared bank accounts. The real stinger was that she persuaded me to drive up to Andy's house and confront him. Basically, I'm telling him that they've been busted and that he has to get his act together and go home. I informed Bella that I don't want to be more actively engaged, but that I would always be her friend and listen to her since she is family and the mother of my niece and nephew. If Andy doesn't like my participation, that's too bad. He's F-ing with the 2 children I love as much as my own, as well as their childhoods, happiness and stable home. That's a no-go. F***CK that dude. If this is true, he should be glad that I won't beat the ever-loving S out of him. And I'm the only one of us who is still in the reserve, so I can. He's soft now. I'm really disappointed with my baby brother, who is now 32 years old.